Drug bust leads to arrest of 5 foreign nationals. Teachers demand better pay and conditions in rural communities. Jazz fever hits Fundação Oriente. Taekwondo athletes crowned ahead of Asian Championships. Welcome back to RTTL World News. I'm Sonia Madeira. Timor-Leste National Police have arrested 5 foreign nationals in Dili following a major drug bust. In a series of coordinated raids across the capital, officers detained 4 Indonesian citizens and 1 Chinese national, seizing evidence of the drug use and sales.
A major crackdown on drug trafficking. On the first raid on Monday morning, police arrested 4 Indonesian citizens.
In the morning, we arrested 4 foreign nationals and they were caught red-handed using the drug. And in the afternoon, we arrested another foreign national who sold illegal drugs.
In the operation, authorities seized evidence including 2 phones, 1 gram of methamphetamine, drug use-related equipment, and cash. Police say the urine tests confirmed the suspects were using drugs.
4 of them are positive.
Later in the evening, police arrested a Chinese national suspected of selling illicit drugs. Methamphetamine is a highly dangerous and addictive substance that can be lethal if taken in large doses.
The drug is very dangerous for people's health. It can kill if consumed in large doses.
The officer says the illicit substances were sold by traffickers for a value of $250 per gram.
When we arrested them, the transaction was happening and each gram they sold for $250. This means that there is a market here for the drugs, and the traffickers know that.
The traffickers were sent to prison after their first hearing to wait for further trials. For local residents, it's a wake-up call that Dili is becoming a target for international drug networks.
Lack of job opportunities leaves many young people unemployed. Only few get the opportunity to work abroad. So, if the drug trafficking network is here, it can lure our young people to get into the ring.
Mr. Suarez is urging the government to take tough measures against the traffickers.
The judicial authority needs to take this case seriously and take tough measures against the criminals, whether it's local or foreigners, or even people in power. They need to be locked away. Otherwise, this activity can thrive, and we don't want that.
This is not the first crackdown on the drug trafficking ring. The biggest crackdown was in 2018, when 160 tons of PCC pills were intercepted. However, the latest arrest of 5 foreign nationals proves that Timor-Leste remains a key target for regional drug networks. Pauline Quintown, Juvenal da Silva, RTTL World News.
Teachers working in rural areas are facing daily challenges like poor living conditions, compromised safety, and unfair pay. Protesters have called for the Ministry of Education to fulfill its promise of safe and adequate accommodation and appropriate subsidies as teachers continue to be assigned to schools far from their homes.
Marco Shufa has been teaching at a primary school on Atauru Island for over a year. Mr. Shufa is from Oikusi, but has to leave his home and move into a residence equipped with only the bare essentials.
This house does not come with facilities such as a mattress, bed, and kitchen appliances. I'm thinking of buying these items, but I have not received my salary for 2 months, so I've been sleeping on the floor.
Mr. Shufa is not alone. Many of his colleagues from other remote areas came to Dili last week to demand better conditions and safety.
A fellow teacher from Bokau, who is now teaching in Bobonaro, often gets spied on when she goes to take a bath because of the poor condition of her accommodations.
These teachers say some of their colleagues even got attacked.
There were some incidents in Uekusi and Likisa where our colleagues' residences were being stoned at night.
Under the government's new decree, teachers are entitled to special incentives when they are placed to teach in remote areas.
We are calling on the Ministry of Education to process our subsidies as stated in the Decree Law number 31/2023, Article 51, about remote placement subsidy, and also Decree Law number 20/2010 about accommodation subsidies. We demand the government to build residences for teachers in remote areas to provide security for our lives.
At the beginning, we did receive the government subsidies, but only for 3 months. After that, we haven't received anything. We teach in the remote areas because we are sent there.
The teachers demand the government to replace them in their hometown if there is no support for them.
We demand our right to subsidies. If this is something the ministry does not have the capacity to solve, relocate us to our respective municipalities.
Teachers claim their basic salary is not enough to support them and their families back home.
A salary of $288 is not enough for unmarried teachers, and even more so for those of us supporting a spouse and children.
Meanwhile, the Ministry of Education says it has paid the subsidies for the new teachers.
The subsidy for the teachers who we placed in rural areas from the first batch until the 7th batch, we've made the payment for their salaries as well as placement subsidies.
Mr. Amaral refused to comment on the state of housing for teachers in rural areas.
Regarding the residences for the teachers, I cannot talk about it because it's not my responsibility. It's for the people above me.
While the government points to completed payments, the reality on the ground says otherwise. Vicky Madeira, RTTL World News.
With the war in the Middle East disrupting supply chains, Timorese families are facing increasing household expenses from the petrol pump to the grocery store. In her final discussion with RTTL World News reporter Vicky Madeira, Senior World Bank economist Amina Coulibaly outlines what the government can do to soften the impact of the conflict on everyday Timorese citizens.
We've seen oil prices spike because of the conflict in the Middle East. EU report notes that Timor-Leste is very sensitive to these global shocks. How can we protect the purchasing power of Timorese families if these conflicts keep pushing up the price of fuel and basic needs?
In terms of the recommendation for us, it's really how to target vulnerable households. So while you are supporting the household and the country, you have really to have targeted support to people that are vulnerable to that, so better targeting. The second is how to strengthen domestic production. So any reform that will boost production on agriculture, for example, on tourism, on fisheries, will also help the country to be to be maybe less dependent to import, but also rely on domestic production. The third point is continue doing diversification. Doing diversification help also to the country to mitigate any external shock. And the last point, and this is really timely, and this is what the report is saying, is compliance with ASEAN framework, ASEAN commitment that will give access to regional markets and also diversify trading partners, and this also help to mitigate the shock. So these are some of the recommendations that we are providing to the country.
We also have seen that government set a price cap for fuel to cushion the blow of the Middle East conflict. From World Bank perspective, is this kind of subsidy sustainable, or are we just draining the petroleum fund faster to solve a short-term problem?
Currently, I know government is running the numbers to see what will be the fiscal cost for the crisis. But first, I think when we have this kind of crisis is to ensure that everyone can have his own activity, so fuel security is the first. So this is really important step. The second is to think about what could be potential measure, and having temporary price cap is a step, but now it's really to look into it to see, is it well targeted? Am I targeting the most vulnerable population? Should I work on the targeting? So what we are recommending is to have targeted temporary support. So looking at the data to make sure that people that are really benefiting from the subsidies are the poor.
So the report mentions that Timor-Leste is now officially in a post-oil phase. In the past, high global oil prices and might have meant more revenue for us, but now it just means higher cost for fuel and food. So how dangerous is this shift for our national budget?
The message for us is how to diversify the economy. Even that you have oil, even you have the petroleum fund, you really have to diversify the economy to also help to smooth any external shock or even domestic shock that may come. So this is why we are working on with the government, and I know that other donors are working to strengthen domestic production on some sector, to also be less dependent to public sector, but have more private sector.
The World Bank often says that private sector should be the engine of the economy, but public spending is still the main driver here. So what is the biggest barrier stopping a Timorese entrepreneur from starting a business today?
Private sector are facing some constraint, and the World Bank Business Ready report highlights 4 things. The first is predictability, having clear and transparent rule so I can plan ahead as investor. In terms of the process, how to have quick business creation system or rule. And also, the third point is access to land. Land administration is key. And we are, SMEs are facing land issue. And the fourth one is access to finances. So any reform that will help SMEs to access to finances, to targeted program, and also private sector to access to finances will help to boost private sector development.
Thank you very much for talking with RTTL World News.
Thank you.
Music fans reveled in a night of brass and blues as the annual jazz festival took over from the San Oriente on Thursday. Hosted by United States-funded organization America, the event marked International Jazz Day and featured collaborations between local and international artists, raising the profile of the genre in the local community.
The 10th edition of the Jazz Festival kicked off with the Kafetahan Band, electrifying the audience.
Thank you to America for inviting us every year to participate in this event. For me, jazz music is very important.
It's the first time Fiorella Mota Cepeda performed in the jazz genre.
Yes is freedom, but it doesn't mean it is easy for everyone to do. Like scat singing, it's something that needs to be expressed with all our hearts.
Local group Lavalian fused traditional Timorese music with jazz elements, with senior guitarist Kai Limak displaying his own unique guitar style. Visitors enjoyed the evening and savored every passionate performance.
I was really enjoying with my friends actually, so it was really incredible festival that I ever had before. I had now, like I was never feel it before, but it's kind of different and really unique.
I was kind of enjoyed mostly. I don't remember exactly the song, but it was sung by that Timorese lady, and that our friend from, I believe, from United States, that lady sang. I mean, that whole music was something, and I enjoyed that very much.
The event also incorporated a display educating visitors about iconic jazz musicians and moments in history.
We want the Timorese people who come to this jazz concert, they also know about jazz history.
Performers united for a group jam session to finish the show, sharing their love of the unique genre of jazz. Jageres Basti Noronya, RTTL World News.
Botanists and Tasmanian plant enthusiasts are celebrating after a second population of an incredibly rare and ancient plant was found in the state's southwest. The location of the new Rttl.Ep population is being kept secret to protect the critically endangered plant.
At a nursery near Hobart, an ancient and rare plant is being propagated.
It's found nowhere else in the world. Can't produce any seed. It's difficult to replicate in horticulture.
The nursery is one of several that has a permit to keep and propagate King's Lammatia to create insurance populations.
And so collectively you can safeguard that species by just having it around in other nurseries, and if something happens to it, it can be brought back.
Plant biologist Professor Greg Jordan has previously found fossilised King's Lammatia dating back 43,000 years. The species can't reproduce sexually because it has an extra chromosome.
King's Lammatia can actually live more or less forever if it's undisturbed by growing up, by falling over, and then the branches grow roots out of the bottom of where it falls over.
Until recently, there was only one known population of King's Lammatia, which was discovered by Denny King in 1934. But earlier this year, a second stand was found in Tasmania's southwest.
I did always feel that there might be something else out there. If someone just looked hard enough, heavens, you'd have to look pretty hard.
The location of the newly discovered wild population and the original stand are being kept secret. The Department of Natural Resources and Environment says this is to protect the plant from being damaged by visitors.
Yes, I think it's a really exciting plant, and really a good moment for all of us to reflect on how good it is not to go there and just know that we have it.
An Indigenous-led boxing camp in Canberra is helping young fighters hone their skills for life inside and outside the ring. Not-for-profit gym Cuz Boxing has just completed its first development camp, continuing a proud tradition of First Nations involvement in the sport.
10-year-old proud Bunjalung woman Latoya Phillips is developing her ring craft while expressing her culture and identity.
Ready? And again.
All central to the process at the Cuz Boxing First Nations Development Camp.
I think it's great to bring kids together, particularly young First Nations kids that have an interest in boxing, But we also want to be able to bring them together so they can connect around culture, they understand the importance of the communities they come from and represent.
These young athletes are experimenting with the sweet science, practicing art in motion and building physical resilience.
It feels tiring at first, and then after you feel great, like you've accomplished something for that day.
They're also building mental fortitude.
I left footy for boxing because boxing is just better, gives me confidence, strength, fitness and all that. It just feels like just so good.
It's not just the boxing, it's seeing these young kids feel confident about themselves, watching their self-belief grow.
The program is designed to give these young fighters the skills to succeed in an elite boxing camp environment, as well as life outside the ring.
I think a lot of Indigenous kids feel disconnected, whether it's with each other or they feel disconnected to their culture or their community.
As the Cars boxing camp becomes family, there's still space for a title decider over sibling rivalry.
I think we're going to spar tomorrow, me and her. She likes it, but sometimes she's not into it as much as I normally am. She has good jabs and stuff.
Proud First Nations athletes practicing a proud sporting tradition.
In sport news, Davino da Costa has secured a spot in the national Taekwondo team after being named the best male senior athlete at the national Taekwondo tournament last week. Meanwhile, Vanessa Romaglio also displayed her dominance, claiming the title for the best female senior athlete at the tournament hosted by the Taekwondo Federation of Timor-Leste.
Fighting for the crown, Vanessa Romaglio dominated the ring, defeating her opponents and showcasing her experience in high-level Taekwondo.
I'm grateful to God, my parents and my coaches for their support during this championship.
She emerged as the best senior female athlete of the tournament.
My training process for this event started in January, so I'm very satisfied with my results.
Meanwhile, in the senior men's category, Davino da Costa was crowned the top athlete after defeating his opponent in a technical knockout. As a result, he will join 5 other athletes in the national Taekwondo team who will compete in the ASEAN Taekwondo Championships in Mongolia in May.
I consider this as the preparation phase for competing in the Asian Taekwondo Championship.
Davino's personal success also led his club, Koni Taekwondo, to be named the overall champions of the tournament, amazing 13 gold medals.
We at the Koni Taekwondo Club have been steadfast and prepared for the past few months.
Those selected for the national team will continue their training to qualify in Mongolia.
The Asian Taekwondo Championships will serve as a qualifying route for the 20th Asian Games in Nagoya, Japan, later in the year. Jageres, RTTL World News.
And now the weather with Jageres.
Thanks, Sonia. Here is tomorrow's weather. Let's start with Dili. Partly cloudy with a high of 32 and a low of 23. In Macau, clouds clearing throughout the day. Temperatures ranging between 30 and 20. Cloudy in Lauten, a high of 30 and a low of 23 degrees. Partly cloudy in Bobonaro, a high of 29 and a low of 16 degrees. And in Eleu, partly cloudy, a high of 27 and a low of 15. Now, looking abroad, clear and humid in Kupang, a high of 33 and a low of 23 degrees. In Bali, humid and partly cloudy, a high of 32 and a low of 25. In Jakarta, overcast with an afternoon thunderstorm in parts, a high of 31 and a low of 24. Mostly sunny in Seoul, temperatures ranging between 20 and 8. Mostly cloudy and humid in Darwin, a top of 34 and a low of 24 degrees. Mostly cloudy in Sydney, a high of 26 and a low of 15. Lisbon will see intervals of clouds and sunshine, a high of 20 and a low of 12 degrees. In London, some sun turning cloudy with a couple of afternoon showers, temperatures ranging between 18 and 10. And overcast in Belfast, a high of 13 and a low of just 5. That's all for now. Back to you, Sonia.
Thanks, Geddes, and thanks for joining us again on the program. RTTL World News will be back with more stories on Thursday. Bye for now.